art. Performance art. Now this is for Marina and Co. See, here I am, sat here, this horrible little town. Now I've had an hour ago I had a kind of riff in my head. Oh, I hope this is, can't be too close up. But finding somewhere where you can sit and just be left alone, the staring. You do something that's not quite approved in their little vision of themselves. Anyway, to get to the point, yeah, so it's like gone. I had it in my head before. But really, this should be called the state of British social work. A year ago, a social worker gave that to me. Over 5 or 6 weeks, we would meet up and walk a bit and sit and talk. Friends. She was in grief. Now she was telling me of how her many-year husband had dumped her, gone off with somebody else. But she actually, before I dared to get fruity, she told me that he was an artist, and that what she wanted to do, he used to leave his latest creation on the kitchen table. She actually told me she wanted to, in case I forget, I should just chuck that in the harbour. But then real endurance artists, despite them, never waste Mother Earth's resources, despite they're all just horses for courses. Anyway, yeah, so she said she wanted to eat his painting, his watercolour left on the kitchen table, eat it, and then do a dump all over what was left to make an artistic point. Now that's proper art. Anyway, but here's the real thing. I've just had a wonderful long chat with a Swiss woman and her husband. English, he's English, but he's been gone 15 years and they got it. They were really great. Anyway, to the point. Kind of on a second or third walk. Not really walks, it was because the weather wasn't very good, but just we'd sit and talk, sheltered under rocks, about her grief. I understood she was in full grief. Anyway, so she was saying to me, do you know what? I'm surviving by the 2 W's. I haven't heard that one before. Walking and wanking. Okay, great. Okay, I think you're not just onto something. Yeah, I completely agree with you. But I didn't, because you're dealing with a woman in grief. This is a performance art piece about the state of social work in Britain. Well, why you should leave Britain. So it's many years social worker who I spent a lot of time, we had good chats. Having brought into the conversation the 2 W's, we would just send each other the odd message in the evening, but it was still April, and it was actually cold and wet the other side of the county. But yeah, and then one evening I get a message in. I've decided I'm going to let you. You've done the first of the W's with me, and I hadn't asked. You can watch me doing the second W if you want. That just came out of the blue. Now, I'm a quite polite person, especially when you're dealing with somebody actually in grief. So I just occasionally would make the odd fruity little querulous rejoinder, jokey, friendly, human. Anyway, long story short, they're all mad. Just occasionally I would just make a slight joke in return, but nothing as saucy as hers. And eventually, after 2, 3, 4 weeks, I even met her daughter. Yeah, it's like, you may as well never have spoken with them, You've no idea where you are. Anyway, she left me that as she left the region. She left me that. But here's the point. The point is this. Somebody you don't know very well, when they actually make a clear-cut statement in writing, I keep all my texts, but I actually did make quite a jokey text back to her. Well, I've got it in writing, and the foundation of child psychology, which she was an expert child social worker, is say what you mean what you say. Yeah, anyway, a week or two later, it's like just a couple of little jokey quicks going back, and basically you end up within a week or two being blocked. But so what? I mean, none of them know who they are. But one thing I know for a fact is, if you're encountering a stranger at the same kind of level as you, who'd read some good books, and I actually met her reading a book, you do, especially if you're a social worker, say what you mean and mean what you say. When the words coming out of a social worker's mouth are no longer, they're not even a performance, they are a dream state, surreal fantasy, pastiche, collage of nothing. In fact, collage of vomit spatter from ayahuasca. There is nothing other than. The thing about it all is it's not even graceful or intelligent. Surrealism. For there to be good art, I think you have to have some foundation in knowing what you're about. I've not met any British person who knows what. But this was a woman who should be, if anybody, fairly sure of what she was about. That's been a horrible, artless diatribe, but occasionally when I take her little cup out, see, I keep that. I shall keep that forever, just to remind myself. I mean, it was the best example. I mean, you can forget your Marina Abramovich types, none of whom understand this society. You see, that's what art should be about. And no immigrant is ever going to. I mean, even I was quite shocked at that. I've got a mature, decent literature reading social worker. She didn't have any other friends in the area. She was actually born and bred, but had left quite some years ago. Who, in this kind of terribly intimate, almost kind of rescuing her a bit, but not really, being there non-judgmentally and really laughing at her wonderful squat and shit it out dump on the dumpies art joke. But you can no longer, now obviously I don't care about a woman not sharing her second W, but nothing she said was real. May as well not have met her. That's real Britain, and your poor, bless them, poor Marina Abramoviches and these kinds of artists who come here to do duff art about. Even I'm a pretty thoughtful people watcher. I don't really understand Britain. The notion that some even fine former Soviet thinker can understand Britain, never mind make art about it, it's worse than a fantasy. It's a really, I mean, you could say that art is just prostitution, but proper art, at least you're talking of escort girls. No, Marina is a cheap $10 quickie round the back of the bins. And if you care about art, you'll be critical when you know that every bit of art you've seen for years, except the one that wasn't art, is great writing. Listen to the audio. Blah blah blah. Art, art, art.